All right. We have Toye Sobande, a strategic leadership consultant and lawyer. He's a doctoral candidate at Regent University, US, for a PhD in strategic leadership. I mean, he's pretty serious about leadership, we must have to say. Hello, Toye. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I can't make out what you're saying, but I hope you're hearing me. If you do, thanks for joining us on today's business again. And today we'll be dealing with leadership in Nigeria and, of course, Africa, and the challenges that some of our leaders have been facing with the outbreak of the coronavirus in Nigeria, and, of course, the way forward. Okay, so we'll just begin and with assessing leadership challenges right now, COVID-19 all over the world, because it takes people to be in the shoes of someone to know how the person feels about a certain matter. So all over the world, just give us the challenges that some of these leaders are facing so far, no thanks to COVID-19.
Yeah, thank you. Like I said yesterday, the basic programming for leadership is to solve problems. For example, in the United States, 2020 is their election year. The Western media, the American media, they're leveraging that to debate the competence of the candidates that are going to be vying for president.
I can't hear him. There's no volume on this.
Same goes for the incumbent president, President Donald Trump. So all over the world, leadership competencies is being tested by this problem. And the responses leaders are giving to the problem is how people measure their competence and their capacity to lead them. So all over the world right now, every leader is contending with this problem. And it's showing something. Some countries are more prepared. Some leaders are more prepared. Some leaders are more aware. And they are more in tune with the reality of what their people are facing. So now citizens have the opportunity to assess their leaders by virtue of their responses and reaction to the problems. So bringing it back to Africa and bringing it back home, where we largely do a lot of copy and paste approach to global issues without gaining understanding. The question is, what foundation do we have in terms of medical research? What is the statistics of virologists that we have in Nigeria that have been researching into viruses over the years? We've been contending with Lassa fever before coronavirus showed up. No awareness beyond the reactions that we see in the newspaper, where we hear 80 people died of Lassa fever, 10 people died of Lassa fever. There's no concrete education. Maybe some are doing it, maybe some, government agencies, but largely most government officials were not paying attention to it. And that's why when this came, it opened us up to the fact that we are not prepared. It's just like somebody who is working, who is earning income. He has responsibility, he has expenses. So it's expected to run with a budget. He's expected to run with a budget for his rent, for his transportation. And the person wakes up one morning and says, oh, there's no gas in my car, there's no fuel in my car, so I can't drive down to work. And they ask him, so why didn't you have gas in your car? Why didn't you just, he said, oh, I overshot my expenses, so I didn't make provisions to buy gas into my car, so I head down to work. It's inexcusable, because at that point your car is a walk too. So it's the same way in governance. when we draw up budgets, our national budget, what percentage of our national budget is taking care of health issues, the health sector? So when we were budgeting, I saw someone tweeted something recently. I can't remember the figures accurately, but the person highlighted how much was voted for education, how much was voted for health. And when I saw the statistics compared to how much was voted for the House of Assembly, the legislature, it's ridiculous. Over 125 billion for the legislature, and yet we have a paltry sum for education. A wise man once told me, he said, if you want to know the priority of anyone and the value system of anyone, he said, check out his checkbook, check out his bank statement, check out what he spends money on. What he spends money on is what he values. So in part of our world, what is it that our leadership, our leaders, those in political governance, what are they spending money on? The budget, our budget analysis, reflects the priority of our government. It means we do not prioritize life. We do not prioritize the health of our people. And it's so unfortunate that we are all stuck here now. Nobody can run out of the country. When at a point in time, common ENT, there's no ENT that the president of Nigeria can consult, and he had to travel out for months to get medical attention for his ears or whatever was wrong with him.
Toye,
So if at that,
I mean, the
Yes,
assessment you have been given so far, for Nigerian leadership, it's a pretty sad one. But in order for us to get to the solution, we have to know the foundation of the problem. Where did this start from? Where did this all begin? So what exactly is the problem of leadership in this climb?
I said something and I'm going to emphasize on it. I said the basic trust of leadership, of governance, is to solve problems. And unfortunately, in this part of the world, in our country, our governance structure has not been programmed to solve problems. And that's the undergirding factor. That's the crucial thing. When we listen to politicians campaign, they make promises. We are not out to listen to people's promises. Can we identify the crux of our issues? The one that affects the man at the local council, at the local level. What problems can we solve for those? What quality of life can we make available for those people? And that's where we now build our value systems on. And I think that's when our leadership in this country can thrive. So when somebody goes into government to actualize a personal dream, a personal ambition, he doesn't have a vision that includes the citizens or a vision that goes beyond his tenure in office. Then we are going to have failure in governance. If everything the guys in politics do is for another 4 years or a second term, and you know that is not a vision, that's an ambition. Because a vision should outlive you as a leader long after you are gone. You know, are we talking about a 100-year plan here? A 20 years plan, a 50 years plan, 50 years vision. So our governance structure is not built on vision that will outlive the occupier of the office. The occupier wants to do projects that will make him win the next election, that will make him get the sympathy of the voters. And that is all. So once the premise of leadership is built on that, we are going to have problems, bigger problems than what the leader should solve.
Wow.
So I think that is the crux of our leadership. The lack of leadership is the lack of understanding of what leadership is about.
All right, Toye, this is now going to be the case of, is it the chicken before the egg or the egg before the chicken? Who is responsible right now? Is it the followers or the leaders? People are saying that the leaders come from the community, so the community is to blame. Other people say the community is seeing the leaders do this and gets away with it, too would want to be like them. So where actually is the problem here?
I said the quality of citizens we have will determine the quality of leadership we have. And I think the most critical point right now is the responsibility of the citizenry is to produce the leaders. Leaders don't produce citizens. Let me bring it home better. It's like a shepherd and a sheep. A shepherd provides direction for the sheep, but the shepherd cannot give birth to a sheep. It is a sheep that will give birth to a sheep. So, a sheep will only reproduce after its kind. So, when a sheep under the leadership of the shepherd is expecting the shepherd to produce sheep that will be responsible, is that we are abdicating responsibilities. We are shifting responsibilities and say someone else should take responsibility for us. So I think the basic responsibility is with the citizen. We have the responsibility to identify the kind of leadership we want. What kind of leader do we want to rule us? And where do we want them to take us to? How far do we want them to take us? What plans do we want them to have for us? But when you hear the citizens make their analysis, we abdicate responsibility. We say the government. We say the government, the government. But every citizen doesn't understand that I am the government. I pay my tax. I vote. So if those two things makes me responsible enough as a citizen who appreciate the quality of leadership that will meet my aspirations. So when the citizens abdicate responsibility and we have this apathy towards elections or towards governance, we don't care about who and who is in office. We just want them to. So we are not querying them. We are not questioning them. Look at the response of some of our leaders to issues. They think it's about going on social media and being popular. So they want to appeal to people on social media. You don't win elections on social media. You might be popular on social media, but these guys have their pockets stuffed with the lives and livelihood of the citizens. And because they hold the political machinery in their hands, they can manipulate the interest of the citizens to favor them, especially when their livelihood is at stake. So with that, the citizens normally just surrender their responsibility to the leader. And you will see a lot of them. I came from a political family. My father was in governance at a point. I saw situations where people wake up as early as 6 a.m. and queue up in the morning to come and tell the leader about their personal problems, about their inability to pay house rent, to pay children's school fees. And the leader will hand them handouts, will give them money. And they are contented with that. That's the kind of citizenship that we have. Citizenship that will only just talk in the media and do nothing. On the day of the election, they won't go out to vote. They won't go to identify the office of their House of Rep or their senator. When the issue of the Bring Back Our Girls started in this country, I wrote a petition and I visited the office of my senator. I got the phone number of my senator. The senator will pick the phone to discern the voice of who is speaking. Till date, I never got a response or an acknowledgement to the petition that was written to the senator. I visited the senator's office, nothing was happening there. No official ready to attend to you. How then do I know what the senator is presenting on my behalf on the floor of the Senate? When it is difficult for me to even visit the senator in the office and to sit down and to discuss ideas that I think will benefit my senatorial district. That is even far gone. Local government. The local government in Nigeria is not functional at all. And that's the closest governance to the people.
Toye.
Now, yes, please.
We have stated the problems, and this is what is very obvious to everybody around. It's what people are really going through, but we have to seek a way forward. And I want us to look at it from two perspectives right now, yeah? From the perspective of the citizen. What can the citizens do to hold their leaders accountable, to ensure that they deliver on promises that they've given? Also, what can leaders do, those who have it in mind to do good? Because there are some people who say, some leaders who say, I want to do this, but the people that I'm serving are not, are not in the mood. They just want to get the money in their pockets and move on with life. They are not getting the necessary help that they need. And so there's this block, there's this challenge that they have to meeting the needs of the citizens. So from two perspectives, please tell us, as citizens, what can be done to ensure leaders deliver as promised, and also leaders, how can they ensure citizens also believe in them to deliver
you're very correct. You're very right. You're very right. I've had the privilege of hearing a number of political office holders who are genuine, a number of senators, a number of governors, even ministers who are genuine, they are capable, they are competent. They want to do good for their people. But they, like you rightly said, they are incapacitated. But the people, they are not interested in development. So it's frustrating for such leaders. And when you see that such leaders, they don't end up winning the next election, they take them out. So I agree with that scenario. I think we need to have the first thing is an agreement for development, a charter between the citizens and the leadership. Let's agree on where we are going as a nation, because there's no agreement. So when the citizens sign and say, I agree to this vision, to this developmental policy, and the leadership is also measured by those agreements or that agreement, then we can now begin to do checks and balances. We can now begin to call each other to question. Every responsible citizen holds, number one, you have to obey the laws of the land. That's the number one solution. Our citizens have to be obedient to the laws of the land. We have to pay our taxes. We have to be diligent in paying our taxes. Government will not function if you don't pay your taxes, if you evade taxes. We need to participate in the electoral process. We need to join the political parties. We should not abdicate the function of the political parties to professional politicians. Those of us who are career individuals, someone like you, you need to join a political party. You need to be there, attend the meetings, so that you participate in the selection of the candidate that will represent you. So we can't all go to work and go to sleep, and when they call for party meetings, we don't show up. And when they elect the riffraffs, we now complain about the quality of leadership. So we have to join the political parties. We have to pick up the political cards.
David.
We have to go there, listen to what they are saying, give them ideas, contribute. identify suitable candidates within the party, support those candidates, and field them for elections. It is frustrating for a lot of political parties in Nigeria when they look into their structure and their system. They can't pick a suitable leader. And that's why you see that the primaries and the whole process is shrouded in secrecy. It's frustrating for them. A good number of the political parties have fantastic ideas, but they don't have the quality of hands to run for office. So that's another solution. So we leveraging that now, the citizens can call to question a leader who emerged from their political party and who is not responsible. They can recall him. They can recall her. So that's being done.
Can you tell us now about leaders in this particular situation, because we need to move as fast as possible.
In this situation now, it's going to be difficult for any leader to succeed in Nigeria, our current constitutional framework. I think that's the first point of call. The governors are not the chief security officer of their states. They have to take approval from Abuja or the IG before they effect security issues. So that's a major problem that incapacitates a lot of the governors. So our constitutional framework has to change. The procurement law for this country is one of our biggest problems. Our constitutional framework is one of our biggest problems. The exclusive list, the concurrent list, the list that is responsibility for the federal government, the one for the state, that structure, that framework, operational framework, is not allowing the leaders who are genuine, who are interested in the citizens' work. A lot of governors are frustrated with that. We need to do a constitutional review. We need to run a system of government that takes power to the local level, down to the local government, that allows the state governors to be powerful enough to make decisions, to generate revenue, to be empowered financially, to make decisions and form policies that can serve their people. There's too much concentration of power in the center. The governors have to go hand begging the president to get things done, to get approval, to construct roads, to build infrastructure. That constitutional framework cannot allow any governor to succeed in Nigeria, except if it's the favorite of the president.
That's an awesome place to land, Toye. That's an awesome place to land. Thank you so much for your insightful analysis on the role of strategic leadership in helping to rebuild the economy. Well, no thanks to COVID-19. Thank you so much, Toye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that's how much we will go for onto this business. Before we leave, I want to remind you to please wash your hands regularly with soap on the boiling water and avoid touching your face and high contact surfaces to prevent the spread of coronavirus. Also remember, COVID-19 is real and swift in its spread. Social distancing is one of the ways to avoid it. We'll see you in the weekend edition of Today's Business. I am Frank. Bye for now.